working on creating our busy bee. And if you are watching this with the kit, you'll have everything you need in here. If you are not watching this with a kit, we're going to go over the supplies you're going to need. So what we have in the kit, we have a yellow yarn. This is Bernat Posh. And then I have it in black and we have it in white. And then you're also going to need some sort of stuffing. So I use the polyfill. You'll need a size 5 hook or whatever hook based off of your yarn that you're using. And then you will need some eyes and a darning needle, and then some stitch markers. Now, if you purchase the kit, you will have pre-started magic circle. So you are going to skip to round 2, where we start into that second round because the magic circle is already started for you. If you are not, we are going to get started on that magic circle right now. If you've never done a magic circle and want to practice before we get started on the different set of yarn, I have a different video just on the magic circle or magic ring, and that is linked down below. So check that out before. Now, if you are working with the kit and this is your very first time crocheting, I highly recommend you go check out my beginner series, especially on how to hold your hook and your yarn. It's really going to help you out once we get started. All right, let's jump in. We are going to start with our magic circle or magic ring. I do it a little bit differently than some of the others out there. Show you my method. So we're going to create our loop. I'll take my hook, go through, grab my yarn, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through, create a chain, and then I'm going to go through that little loop that I created, and it is through, pull the yarn up, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, through, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. And one more time, through, yarn over, pull through. Now, I've gotten to 3, and we need to get to 8. But before I move on, you'll notice I did pull my tail a little bit. Sometimes working with plush yarn, you want to make sure that your tail is not going to get snagged and fray on you. So we did 3, so let's keep going. 4. We're doing single crochets, so in through, grab up, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do that again. Through, grab the yarn, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and then again, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got 1 more to go because we are doing 8. Grabbing, yarn over, pull through. All right, so we are at 8 in our magic ring here. So we're going to pull that nice and tight. Okay, so from here, we're going to move on to our round 2. Now, round 2, if you have a kit, you're going to start here. You're going to notice that it has 2 stitch markers. So one is on that first crochet stitch that we created. Okay. And the second one is on our working yarn. So our working loop, our working yarn here, that's where we're going to start from. So this is where you're going to be putting your hook. So you're going to be starting your stitches here, and this is where you're going to put your hook in. Okay, just going to borrow that from Rigger. So now that we're ready to go, we are looking at increase 8 times. What that means is we are going to do 2 single crochets in each of those stitches. So we're going to single crochet twice in every stitch. we're going to go through those 2 on the top here. So you can see how there's 2 on top. And we're just going to go through that hole that it makes right there. I'm going to push my hook through. I'm going to grab my yarn. And I'm going to pull through. Now I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2. Now, so I don't lose my spot, I'm going to put my stitch marker in, and then I'm going to do that again in that exact same hole. So this would be hole number 2. You can see down here is hole number 1. So I'm going to go through, pull my yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2. So now I just made 2 stitches, 2 single crochets in that first stitch. Okay, we're gonna continue that again. So we're gonna go through the stitch, grab our yarn, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I'm going into that exact same stitch again. So through the hole, grab the yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay. Then we're gonna do the next one. We're going to push through, grab the yarn, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, through, grab the yarn, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, you're going to repeat that till you get to your stitch marker. Make sure that you are doing 2 in every stitch, and when we get to the end, we're going to count to make sure we have 16 stitches. All right, so I want you to pause here and meet me at the end. All right, so now we're on row 3. And row 3 or round 3 says 7 single crochets, 1 increase. So what you're going to do is you're going to go 7 individuals. And then when you get to the 8th one, you're going to do 2 inside that one. And then you're going to repeat that twice. Take that out. Let's start with 1 single crochet. So I push through, pull the yarn out, yarn over, pull through 2. And then I'm going to put my stitch marker in. Okay, so that's 1. Again, through, grab the yarn, pull it through, lift up, yarn over, pull through 2. So we just did 2 single crochets. I'm going to go a little bit faster through this. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. At this point, we're going to go into the 8th stitch, and we're going to do it 2 single crochets. So that means we're doing 1 single crochet, and in that same spot, another single crochet. So now we just did an increase. Remember, increase is just adding an extra stitch inside there. Now we're going to repeat that. We're going to go 7 and then an increase at that last one. And 7, and then our last stitch is a increase in that spot. So 1 and again 2. All right, now we are going to do some single crochets for 2 rounds. So round 4 and round 5, we're going to be doing single crochets all the way around. So I'm going to start this round with you with 1 single crochet, put my stitch marker in, I'm going to do round 4 and round 5 pretty quickly because they are just single crochets. If you'd like to pause and meet me at round 5, you can do that. Okay, we have reached the end of round 5. Now, before we go on to round 6, we have to do a color change to black. So we're going to get our black yarn ready. Okay. And you'll notice that I ended with a single crochet, but what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to kind of pull that loop out a little, and then I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to push it through the front of that yarn, and you're going to see it went through 2 of those, the loops that I was working through. Okay. Now it kind of looks like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to snip off the yellow. And then you're just going to pull that yellow through. I'm going to pull it on through the other side. And then I'm going to grab my black. And I'm going to make a small little loop. I don't need to make a slip stitch because we're going to tie it together on the inside, but just a little loop. And I'm going to grab my yarn and my hook, and I'm going to pull the black through as if it were the stitch that I was working on. And then I'm going to go behind and tie the yellow tail to the black tail. And a double knot would be best because then we make sure that it will not come apart. Okay. So now we're going to go in and we are going to do 2 rounds of single crochets with the black. So this is going to be our first one. So this is our first single crochet, pull up, pull through 2. So that's our first one. We'll put our stitch marker back. You technically on this first round don't need your stitch marker back because you can tell where the color change is. Now there are other ways to do invisible color changes. Because this is a total beginner series, we are not going to go down that route for this video, but there are some great videos out there on invisible color changes. Mine's in the works. All right, so we have our single crochet, pull through. Okay, I grabbed my tail a little. All right, and then again, single crochet. So you're going to do this 2 rounds, just like we did with our yellow. So 2 rounds around. So what I want you to do is I want you to meet me, pause the video here, and then meet me at the end when we get to round 8, because we're going to do our color change one more time. Okay, we've reached the end of row 7 and we need to change back to yellow. So you can see this time around I did not finish my round. You can do it this way too. So I still have my black tail down there. I'm going to grab my yellow. Okay. And I'm going to bring it through. Okay. Now again, I'm going to tie my tails together. That double knot. Okay. And then I'm going to continue down this road. Now, before I go on with my yellows, I'm going to do my first single crochet of round 8. So let me get that in just so I have it ready to go. So there's my first single crochet with my color change. That's locked in. Now, I want to make sure that before I go too far, I do put in my eyes. So this is where my color change is happening. So I can choose to do my eyes in 2 ways. I can make sure that this color change is on the bottom of the bee, depending on where you want your wings to go. So you can see this guy, I did it on the top, but his wings kind of cover that color change. However, it doesn't really cover it there. So if I were to do this again, I would probably do my color change, have it on the bottom of the bee. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. So what I want to do first is I'm going to take my eyes. And again, if you purchase the kit, you should have a little container that has the eyes in there. If you did not purchase a kit, you can use felt eyes. You can hot glue those on. You can embroider the eyes if you're going to give this to a young child, or if you have the safety eyes. So I like to put these on between round 2 and round 3. So this is round 1, this is round 2, this is round 3. So I'm going to kind of stick it here, and then we're over here, and then you can place them really wherever feels more natural to you. Like if I wanted to, I could probably bring it over a little bit closer, but I'm going to keep it in that spot. So safety eyes, you go in. Now with safety eyes, sometimes to make sure they stay in, I'll put like a piece of felt behind and then like cut a slit and do it that way, or I'll put in some fabric glue. Okay. These are a little trickier because they're smaller, so I'm going to go the opposite way. So that way it's a little easier for me to snap it through. Okay. And we'll go on the other side. There are different tricks out there with tools. I've seen a few different ones. There is someone out there making 3D printed eye snappers, and it looks amazing. I know they had a Kickstarter going, so I'm just waiting for those to come out to market so that they are ready for us to purchase. Okay, so eyes are in. We are ready to go. So I have my yellow in. So this time we're doing 3 rounds instead of just 2. So our stripe was only 2. So this round is going to be 3 rounds of yellow. So they're all single crochets. So pretty simple. So through the loop, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, through the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Okay, we'll do that one more time. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to meet me after 3 rounds of this, and then you're going to color change. We're going to color change back to black. Now remember, each round to put your stitch marker back so that we can keep going and not lose our place. Sometimes it helps to make a tick mark down on your pattern to know when you have gotten to the next round. So again, I'm going to have you pause here and meet me at the end. Okay, we've made it to round 10, or end of round 10, I should say. And we are now going on to round 11. So round 11 is just going to be a single crochet of black around. So again, we're doing our color change. Just doing our color change here. So through, and then single crochet, pulling that black through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I noticed my stitch was a little loose, so I can just pull that tail a little bit tighter, snip off my yellow, double knot those together. So now we're going to do 1 single crochet around, or sorry, 1 round of single crochet 18 times around. So that was 1, grab and pull, yarn over, okay, and then again. So once again, I'm going to have you pause the video and meet me at the end so that we can move on to round 12. And in round 12, we're learning a new stitch. So we definitely want to make sure that we are ready for that. Okay, so pause here. I'll meet you at the end. Now that we've gotten to round 12, we're ready to continue on. However, we need to do a couple things. The first thing is we're probably going to want to start to stuff the body. And then the second thing is we're going to learn how to do the decrease. So we want to make sure that we are watching carefully. Now I'm going to do it on this teal color because it is a little hard to see on the black. So the first thing I want to do is stuff our bee. Now, when it comes to amigurumi and stuffing, you want to make sure that you are stuffing firmly, but not so firm that you are stretching your stitches out. And I like to go in on the sides, kind of fluff it through, kind of creating kind of a hole in the center, so that as I fill in, it's filling in that hole. So again, you want it firm, but not overstuffed. You don't want to stretch out your stitches. Okay. Okay, so now we're ready to move on. We're going to keep stuffing as we go, but right now we're going to start our next thing. So the first part is, just as we've been doing, the 6 single crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and do those. So it is 1 single crochet, stitch marker in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. Now that we have our 6 single crochets, we're going to talk about the next one, which is single crochet and then decrease. And you're going to do that twice. So we're going to do a single crochet. And now it's time for our decrease. But let me show you with the teal so that it makes a little more sense. Okay. So when we're looking at this, there are 2 stitches on top, right? There's a front loop and a back loop. So if I were to kind of put my thing in through, you could see there's the front loop and the back loop. So what we're going to do to create an invisible decrease is we're actually going to be going through the 2 front loops that are next to each other, because a decrease is now taking 2 stitches and making them 1. Remember when we did an increase, we put 2 in the same stitch to make it adding an extra one. So now we're going to be subtracting that 1. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and through both of those. All right. So again, we're going to go through the first loop, then through the second loop. Remember, front loops only. Yarn over, pull through the loops, but not all the way through. So we have 2 on our hook now. Yarn over, pull through 2. So that was our decrease. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that on our bee here. So it's a little harder to see with the black. If you have a light shining on it, it's going to be a little bit easier. But there's a front loop and a front loop. So I'm going to be taking my hook through those 2 front loops there. Okay. So front loop, and then sometimes I have to twist my hook. So I don't know if you can see that, but I'm twisting my hook through. So now I have 3 loops. I'm going to yarn over, go through the first 2. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through the last 2. Okay. So that was our first decrease. Then we're going to do a single crochet, just a single. Okay. Then now we're going to do that decrease again. So front loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's our second decrease. And then we're just going to do 6 single crochets till we get to the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got stuck. All right, so here we are on round 13. So we are so close to the end of the body of our bee. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to decrease 8 times around we're decreasing. So what we're going to do is every 2 we're combining. So we're going to get this down a little bit smaller. Okay, so let's go ahead and get in there. So we're going to front loop. Here's our first decrease. And I'm going to put my stitch marker in. Okay. So our second decrease, front loop, yarn over through the loops, yarn over through 2. Again, front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Next, front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Front loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn up, yarn through. Okay, we just have 2 more to go. So front loop, yarn over, okay, and over here, front loop, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so now we are at our end. We're going to fasten off. So you can do it 2 ways. You can do a slip stitch and then fasten off, or you can just snip and pull through since we are going to be weaving in. So that's just pulling it through, not doing crochet. And then I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail for sewing. And then I'm going to snip that off. Right. I'm going to pull it through and then tug it a little. Now you'll notice I need some more stuffing to fill in my bee. So I'm just going to kind of fill up that bee with the remaining stuffing here. Kind of smaller. There we go. All right, so now we're going to weave in our edges. So you have your needle. This one's a large needle, just so I can show you on screen. But what we're going to do is there's 2 ways you can try to push it through. You can try to fold it over and push it through. And then there's a trick I just learned where you take your stitch markers and then kind of like a needle threader, push it through, and then it'll come through, no problem. I don't know if it'll work on the small one, but let's see. Not yet. It does. So I would grab it and then pull it through. A little tighter, but there you go. Makes it a little bit easier when you are threading that needle. So again, I think I'm going to use that red just because it's big and bright. Okay, here we go. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be weaving into the front loops only. So you can see again, when we look at our stitch, there is a front loop and there is a back loop. So we're going to be going through the front loop only. So, and we're going to do a weaving motion. So I'm on top, so I'm going to go down through the front, up through the next one, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is my last stitch. I probably should have left my stitch marker in, but there we go. So now what I just did was I pulled up tightly. You want to pull tightly, but not so tight that the yarn snaps. The yarn will snap if you're pulling too hard. So just enough to get it to close and it's secure. Then you're going to take your needle and you're going to kind of push it through and slide it through the other end of your bee. And you can pull that out, And then I snip that off. And I take the end of my needle, or I can even go in with a crochet hook. Kind of stuff that in. There we go. So there is the body of our bee. So now we're going to head into learning how to do those wings. With the wings, we're going to be using our white yarn. Now, there are two ways you can do this. You can do it with the magic ring or magic circle and work your stitches in there, or you could do a chain 2 and then work in the second chain from the hook. I'm going to show you each way. I personally prefer the magic circle because it just creates a cleaner closed circle. You can see it's very tight when you do the magic circle. Sometimes, depending on your tension, especially if you're first starting out, it's going to look a little wonky. So you might want to start with the chain 2 just to avoid frustration. But let me show you magic circle first, and then I'll show you chain 2. All right, we're going to start with our loop. Okay, I'm going to go through. I'm going to grab the yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through, and that's our first chain. Okay, now you're going to work 2 single crochets into the magic circle. So grab up, yarn over, pull through 2. There's 1 single, through, grab, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 2 single crochets. Now we're going to do a half double crochet. So a half double crochet takes it a little bit step further. You're actually going to yarn over just like that before you go into the circle. So now I'm going to grab my yarn. So at this point I have 3 loops on my hook. When you yarn over, you are going to pull through all 3 of those, and that makes a half double crochet. Okay, I'm going to pull my tail just a little bit to shorten up my ring here. Now we're going to go in and get our 3 double crochets. So a double crochet is very similar to that half double, where we're going to yarn over, push through the loop, grab, pull up. So now we have 3, but this time, because we're doing a double, not a half double, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do that 2 more times. So yarn over, push through, grab, pull up, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And 1 more, yarn over, through the circle, grab the yarn, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We just did 3 double crochets. Now we're going to do our half double again. So yarn over, through the ring, grab our yarn, and because it's a half double, we are just going to go through all 3 of those loops. Pull through. Okay, and now we're going to do our 2 single crochets. So through, grab, yarn over and through, again through, grab, yarn over. There we go. And our very last piece is going to be our slip stitch. So through the ring, grab our yarn, and this time, instead of yarning over and pulling through, we're just going to take that and pull it all the way through. We're going to create a nice tail for sewing. And pull that through. So now we have our slip stitch that we just made, but we also still have our tail. And you're going to pull that tail nice and tight. So that there we go. There is our first wing. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do the wing with a chain. So for this one, you're going to need to know how to do a slip knot. And if you don't know how to do that, I have a video linked down below, as well as a chain video. So if those help you out when we're doing this. Okay, so here's our slip stitch. Okay. Then I'm going to chain 2. So Here is chain 1. Here is chain 2. So this one, we are going to be actually working in this second chain from the hook. Okay. We're going to start with 2 single crochet. So here's 1, yarn over, pull through. There's 1 single crochet. And again, 2 single crochets. Yep. We're still working into that same chain here. So now I'm going to do my half double. Pull up. Okay. Pull through 3. Okay. Now we're going and we are working on our 3 double crochets. So yarn over, pull through, grab, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 1, yarn over through the hole, grab, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay. Again, yarn over through the circle, lift up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have our half double, our 3 doubles, and now we need our half double again. So yarn over through the loop, grab, pull up, yarn over, pull through 3. And then our final 3. So yarn through, over, here we go, yarn through, over, through 2. Okay, I'm going to pull my tail a little bit tighter. And I'm going to slip stitch again into that first single crochet and snip off and pull it all the way through. So not much of a difference. The only difference is you'll notice that this one has a slightly more open center, whereas the magic circle one does not. So that's the only difference. Otherwise, they look pretty much the same. Okay, now we're going to sew on our wings to our bee. Now, you could do it a couple ways. You could have your wings separate. You could have your wings together. I think for this one, I am going to have my wings together. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to tie my wings together. Let's see if I can show you this. I think I'm going to take my short tail and connect it with my long tail for each of these. Okay. So now I'm just kind of going to make a quick knot, get them nice and close to each other. There we go. Get a nice little knot there for one. And then I'm going to tie these ones together. This is completely optional. You do not have to do this. You can just sew it straight on. Okay. So now I have all these pieces underneath. I'm going to do another tie right here. And a little tie right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew these wings onto the top of my bee here. So I'm going to get my needle and I'll probably start with my longer ones because they'll be a little bit easier. So kind of finding the placement of where I like them. So I'll probably right there. And I'm going to go through here. And I'm actually going to come out the other side just so that I can get everything placed. And then I can go back in and sew them. So you notice I came out of a different hole kind of far away from where I am sewing. And I'm going to do that with all of these pieces. And I'm going to come out of the same hole. I might go into the black area with a different hole, but I'm going to come out the exact same hole, and I'll show you why in a second here. I'll put that through, that one out. Okay. Get all these tails through. So again, each of these tails on the black area here is going to just go into a different hole and then come out the same hole. Okay. And our last one is going to go here. Let's go here and come out to this hole here. Okay. So now that it's on top, I'm just going to take those small ones and I'm going to tie those together over here. And I tie it pretty tightly where it gets kind of sucked into the bee's body a little bit. Tie that together. I'm going to snip off those small tails. Okay. And then I'm going to take one of those big tails because I just want to secure my bee's wings. So I'm actually going to go back through that hole and come out the center of my wings. You can see I'm coming out there. I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to just do a couple in and out weaving just to make sure it's secure. So just kind of in and out here to make sure that those wings are not going anywhere. I'll probably go from this side and then up through this side. Okay, and then I'll do my final back through here and then out that stitch where my other tail is waiting. And bring that out. Now we're going to do our final little knot here. And do a double. And then we're going to snip off pretty close to the body. Okay. And we're going to tuck in that white. Okay, there is our little bee with its wings. Super cute. Okay, from here you can go on and give your face detail if you want. If you like it as is, you can go ahead and pause there. But if you are interested in creating a little mouth, that is where we are going next. All right, let's go ahead and make our little mouth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my acrylic yarn, my black acrylic, and I am going to thread it in. I'm going through the side of the head, and I'm going to just decide how far or how wide. So I'm actually going to go about here. I'm going to go on either side of this little bump area here. So this is a lot. Okay, so then I'm going to go to this side, but before I push it all the way through, I'm going to decide, do I want a happy face or a mad face? You could simply just make it straight across, and there's that. If you want a frowny face, you would go to the top and create a V, but we are going to make it a happy V, so we're going to go down to the bottom. See, I just kind of went this way. I'm pulling it through. Okay. So again, if I want to make it happy, I'm going to go up through that line there. Pull it up. Oops. And what you want to do is you want to go back into that exact same stitch that you took it out from. Then out the side at the same place. Okay. Tug a little, and now you have a cute little V there. I obviously made it too long, but you would snip off maybe snip a little less. So you're going to tie it into your knot and then tuck it into your body. Now, sometimes I find the acrylic yarn is harder to shove in. There we go. Sometimes I'll need to go in with my hook and just kind of scoop it so that it scoops through. Okay, so there is our little bee face, our little mouth, our little bee. So you could stop here, or if you want to continue, we are going to make antenna here. So with that, we're going to create a slip knot with a tail. So again, I have a video on how to do a slip knot if that's not something you know how to do. Okay, so I have my slip knot with a little bit of a tail. And we are going to enter in a stitch above the first eye. Okay, so about right here, let's say, okay. And then we are going to chain 4. So I'm going to come around here and see if I can show you this. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to grab my yarn, pull through, and we're creating a slip stitch here. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to pull through here, okay. And then we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now on the 5th chain, we're going to pull the yarn through, and then we're going to tie it off. So I'm going to pull it all the way through. Now this is a long piece. So I'm pulling it through, and then I tighten it up. So I'm fastening it off so it's pretty tight. And then I'm going to snip off the excess. Okay. So that's my first antenna here. Okay. And then I'm going to repeat for the other side. So again, my slip knot with the tail. Find the other eye about right here. I'm going to do my slip stitch in there. Oops. There we go. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on that 5th one, I'm just going to pull it through, tug it so it fastens it off, create a snip there. Okay, so now I have my little antennae, and then I'm going to take my tails and I'm going to plop them through down to the bottom of the bee's head, coming out of the exact same hole. So I'm just going to take it through that hole there. Okay. And do the same with the other side. Right here, go through that same hole. Make sure they're together. Pull it out. So you can kind of adjust as you see fit. Some of my chains are a little loose, so they're a little bit wider, but you can adjust to your liking. Okay. And then I'm going to tie this off. Tie it again, double knot. Snip close to those knots and shove that down in. And there you go. We have just made our little busy bee. And I hope that you had fun making this. And if you did make one and you are on social media, I would love it if you would share and tag me in it so I can see your work. I always love seeing what everyone has created. So
Thank you so much for watching.
If you found this video helpful, make sure you comment down below. Ask any questions if you need to. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Also, follow me on Instagram and TikTok for those quick crochet tips as well as behind the scenes fun. Until next time, happy crocheting!